I inadvertently got signed up to be my daughter's softball coach. So we got assessments today. We got to go look at some little kids play softball and determine if they're good or not. And then I get to draft, right? We get to draft some kids. So all the benefits of being a dad, right? This is the stuff that I've been missing the last few years. So this is why, the change I made was important. Anyway, all right. So we're going to continue with the 7 steps to being healthy and fit. We are on step 3. So remember, just going back right over the last 2 days, if you didn't see them, you missed a live. I also posted them on my YouTube page. So if you click the link in my bio, you can go to the YouTube page. Day 1 is up. Day 2 is loading right now. If you just kind of let me catch you up, right? Number 1, the first thing we want to do is ask yourself why, right? Remember, there was a 1A and a 1B. 1A is to set a goal. 1B is to ask yourself why you want to accomplish that goal. What is the purpose? What is the meaning? Why are you trying to accomplish a goal, right? Step 2 was to identify your top priorities, right? We went over the glass jar idea, right? Glass jar, big glass jar. We put the big rocks in first, then the pebbles, then the sand, and the water. If we do it in any other order, we end up leaving some things out, right? If you put in the pebbles first, you don't get all the big rocks in, right? So the big rocks are things that are most important to you. So when you're on your way, right? Once you set your goal, you know your why, and you have a plan, along that plan, those big rocks may be milestones, and may be things that you want to prioritize in your life. Remember, it might be more family time, it may be more money, it may be more, maybe some project you're working on, something that's important to you. So the big rocks are the things that are most important. The pebbles are the next thing down, sand and water and so on, right? I kind of talked about this one yesterday because it kind of flowed into what we were talking about yesterday, but keeping a time diary is step number 3, right? Keep a time diary. The reason we want to do that is it shows you where your time is spent each day. A lot of us, right, our number one thing when I ask people, about, what are their struggles with getting healthy or staying fit, what are the things that they're struggling with? And the number one thing is time, right? Nobody has time. No matter who you are, no matter what you do, you don't have time, right? I am a busy dad, right? I got businesses that I run. I got 2 kids, wife, household, all these things, right? I work for myself now. I'm self-employed, so I do everything from home, but I was working a full-time job where I was there throughout the day for 6 hours, and then again out throughout the night for another 4 hours, and at different times working 12 to 14-hour days for years, for a decade, right? So I was admittedly busy, but I made time for the things that were important. Okay. So we're all busy. I remember when me and my wife talk about this all the time. I remember when we were not single, but we weren't married, or no, we had just got married. We were living together and we both had jobs, but I worked at a high school. So I was done with work by like 2:30, 3 o'clock at the latest. She worked at a school district. So she was done about the same time. And I remember we used to talk about how busy we were and we didn't have time to do stuff. No kids, no second job, no side hustles, no other businesses. We used to complain about how busy we were and how we didn't have time to do things. And I just look back now at how much time we actually had. But the problem is we weren't organized, right? We weren't accounting for the time we have in a day. And a lot of people will complain and be like, well, I don't, just like tracking calories. I don't want to track calories. I don't want to account for time in a day. But you keep track of the money that's in your bank account, right? Like, how much money is going in and going out, for hopefully, for the most part, right? Most of us are track of how we spend our money. But then we'll also say that time is money. So why don't we track our time? Right. So again, there's the importance of keeping a time diary. It's a useful tool for showing you where your time is spent each day, right? It's actually a detailed report of what activities you carry out. This will help you with prioritizing things. And once you have things prioritized, then you can start to eliminate some of those things that you're doing on a regular basis that maybe don't help you at all, right? Or aren't helping you get to whatever your goal is. They don't fit into your plan, right? So what you should do is you write down what time you do something, how long it takes you to do it, so the start and the finish. Then you write down the next thing, right? It should include all of your activities, right? From the time you get up to the time you go to bed, right? And you can ballpark them, but I suggest you take, and I talked about this yesterday, you take like 3 to 5 days where you actually literally are jotting down everything as you go. So throughout the day, from the time you wake up, what time it is, you brush your teeth, what time is after you finish brushing your teeth? And that might be a really small one, right? Because that might be not be something that you necessarily need to do, but getting ready for whatever you're about to do, we can kind of lump that all together. Now, if we need to figure out how we're going to get a workout in, the only way to work out is in the morning before we go to work, then we need to take that getting ready time and start chunking that down and figure out where we can cut some corners. Maybe we pack our lunch the night before, maybe we prepare our clothes the night before, maybe we lay things out so we have them ready for us when we wake up. We pull out what shoes we're going to wear. We have everything prepared so we're not spending that time in the morning. Maybe we go to bed a little earlier so we can wake up on the first alarm and not the third one, right? Little things like that. Like we account for our time, we know where we can make some moves, do some things differently, right? You should note every activity you do, not just the ones you consider to be work, like literally everything. Like right now, I should probably write down that right now at 2:57, I am going live on Instagram. I'm recording a video for my YouTube, right? I should write that down. And then when it's over, I should write down what time I finished and what it is I did. Again, this is at the beginning, right? It's the beginning on your journey, right? Your 7 steps to being healthy and fit. We're taking this step, right? We're taking a step towards being healthy and fit. And the reason, again, why we're doing this is because most people say they don't have time. And the reason we don't know if we have time or not, and that's the easy cop out for us, is because we don't really keep track of our time, right? Like at your job, at your workplace, right? They keep track of your time. You clock in, you clock out for lunch, clock back in. There's a time card at some places, right? There may be an app at some places, right? And why do they track your time? Because they base your time off of money, right? So if they think, right, they think that your time and money, right, and you have to kind of feel the same way to some extent, time is money, then you should track your time as well so that you use your time wisely so you get the most value out of your time, right? So again, in the morning, include, like, write down you brushed your teeth for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it takes you to do your teeth brushing. What time you had your lunch, what time you went to lunch at work today, right? How long that took. And like, if you go to lunch for an hour, but you only really eat for 15 minutes, what are you doing for the other 45? So 15 minutes was lunch, 45 minutes was like scrolling on Instagram, texting somebody, maybe you were on the phone, maybe you were handling something, running some errands, whatever, right? Whatever it is, no judgment. You just got to write it down so you have track of it, so you know what it is. What time you went to the supermarket, what time you started folding clothes that night, like all these little things, right? They don't seem like they matter, but they add up. Again, it's like calories, right? If I'm just snacking throughout the day, even if I set myself up, I'm just going to have 5 meals a day or 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But throughout the day and in between meals, I'm snacking, I'm grazing, I'm just throwing in extra calories that maybe I don't need. Like I could probably better account for those. Maybe I have a better breakfast, so I don't need a snack in between. Maybe I have a better lunch, so I don't need a snack in between, right? Like there's ways to do it, but if you're not keeping track, then it's hard for you to do it responsibly and do it the right way, right? So what is, again, the purpose of time diary? I kind of went over it, but it's used to help improve your efficiency, right? So the time diary is designed to help you identify the activities that take up the most of your time, right? The most and the least productive activities that you have during the day, and activities that can get kind of combined to make them more efficient. Okay. So like I said, like your nighttime routine before you go to bed, right? You take a shower, you put in pajamas, you do whatever you do, you put a little moisturizer in your beard, a little beard oil, right? Maybe during that time you take your workout clothes out because you got to work out in the morning. You take those workout clothes out and you put on the bed, you get the shoes that you want, you put them down there, or you get everything you need set up so that when your 5 o'clock in the morning alarm goes off, you're not scrambling trying to find that stuff. You just grab it, put it on, boom, you're out the door. So instead of it being 5:30 when you actually make it out the door, you finish making your shake and you head out, it's actually like 5:10, 5:15. Now you've made up for 15 minutes. And when we talk about this tomorrow, the plus 15 rule, you'll see why 15 minutes is super important, right? All right. So again, activities take up most of your time, the most and least productive times of the day for you, and most productive and least productive activities that you do. And then figuring out which activities can be combined to make them more efficient, right? If you're thorough when you complete that time diary from like those 3, like I said, 3 to 5 days, whatever makes the most sense for you. If you really struggle with time, I would say do it for 5 days, because then it really, really gives you an idea of what's happening with your time. And it forces you to be conscious of your time. If time isn't like a big thing for you and you do manage to keep yourself on a pretty good schedule, just 3 days is pretty good, because then you're already somebody who's on top of things as far as time is concerned. So you don't really have to worry about like not having your time accounted for, but you should do it just as a practice to help you, because again, fitness is a lifetime thing. Like you become fitness. You do not chase fitness. You do not arrive at fitness. You become fitness. So if it's something that you need to do, accounting for your time and using your time efficiently and effectively is something that you need to do in your entire life. Okay. If you do this properly, you have data. Okay, you have data. You have an idea of what it is that you do every day. You can use that data then to make more educated decisions. The more data points you have, the more educated decisions you can make. This is why, again, it's important that you track your calories, right? Because if you know exactly, like if I just ballpark everything and I'm like, I think I'm at about, then I can't really make any adjustments, because I don't know if I'm actually hitting my number, or if I'm off, or if I'm, you know what I mean? Like, so it's important to have those real concrete data points. Like I know that I'm spending 75 minutes watching Netflix because I watched a show and a half. And so now, you know, I'm saying I don't have time, but I had 75 minutes there. Maybe I watch one show, right? And I use that other time to do some yoga, to do some meditation. Maybe I head to the gym, knock out a quick workout, or maybe I do something at home, a home hit workout or some core or something, right? But when I say I don't have time, I just kind of, I'm ballparking my time and I'm not really specific on what my time is. And that becomes a problem, right? Again, like I said about your bank account, right? Like you can't just take roundabout numbers. Like I might have $10,000 in your bank. Might have, right? Like if you got bills to pay, you need to know exactly how much is in there, or else there's going to be some trouble, right? With your time, it's the same way. Again, time is money. I didn't make that up. I promise you, somebody else made that up, right? But I'm just living in the rules, right? Time is money, and I care about money, right? And somebody will argue, yeah, money isn't the most important thing, but well, time is, right? I left money to spend time with my kids, right? I make more money now, but like I left money to spend time with my kids because my kids are what's important to me, right? My fitness is what's important to me. So I get up early in the morning so I can make time for it, right? This is important to me. So I'm making time, right now to do this video, right? So yeah, so you have to check your time. So your schedule reflects how you're prioritizing the activities in your life. Again, we talked about priorities yesterday. So you track your time, and honestly, it should be like a couple weeks, right? But if you do it right for the first 5 days, you know, like your life is pretty stable, right? Every time there's a change, though, you might need to mix it up. Every time something crazy happens, you might need to mix it up and track again. You change jobs, your kids' schedule changes, like they're out of school for the summer, the schedule's different, right? You may need to track your time again, or just understand what there is going on. And then you have to analyze it. Okay, so once you have all those data points, okay, what you're actually doing, and then put it up against what you would like to do, and then figure out where you make your adjustments, right? If a lot of your day is spent on social media, and maybe that's not what's most important to you, then you need to make that adjustment. If a lot of your day is spent watching TV, right, and you don't want to do that anymore, then you got to figure out how to make that adjustment, right? And so you, without having that, you don't know adjustments to make. Okay. Here's kind of a mindset thing that I want you to kind of think about as well as you're doing this. When you do your time journal, okay, when you do your time journal and you kind of write down your time, I want you to do it without judgment. Okay. You're working on making a change. You're trying to make a change in your life, and so you have to do it without judgment. If you're judging yourself, or you're shooting on yourself, or I should be doing this, or I should be doing that, it turns into a negative experience, right? We just want to be conscious of what it is we do. Okay. Once we know what we're doing, we can make an adjustment. But being judgmental of yourself and your schedule, it is not going to be helpful, right? Because it turns again into a negative situation. What we're trying to do in our 7 steps to being healthy and fit is not only to be fit physically, but being fit mentally. If we're judging ourselves, or we're shitting ourselves, we're down on ourselves, then our mental fitness isn't coming along the way we want to, or maybe our emotional fitness isn't where we want to be, right? And so it's really important that as we do these things in all of these 7 steps, that we make sure we're doing them without judgment. We are just analyzing our data points and making sure that we make the right moves, right? Again, I mention this, and I'm gonna have to mention this every time. The book, right? 7 Steps to Being Healthy and Fit. You click the link in my bio, right? As long as I'm still doing these lives, where 7 steps to being healthy and fit, as long as I'm giving you this information, that book is going to be free. Okay. So if you click the link in my bio, you can go grab the book right now. And then you don't have to wait for the next video. You don't have to hear me talk about it. Although I'm going to give you a little bit more in-depth information about each topic on these lives. You can grab the book and be ahead of everybody and just be listening in for maybe some Q&A, right? To ask some questions, or maybe listening in just to hear my own take on it. But again, 7 Being Healthy and Fit, link is in my bio. I'm trying to think, there was something else that I wanted to tell you. For those of you that are listening, 2 things. One, podcast stuff, right? The Forfeit Fatherhood podcast is rolling. Again, the link is in the bio for that. So there's a link to the podcast as well as YouTube. So it's both auditory and visual. So you can watch it if you want to watch it, or you can listen to it if you want to listen to it. Both links are up there. If you miss a live, again, YouTube it, right? It's on my YouTube. You can just click that link. You'll find the videos there. So if you just catch on day 3, you want to go back and see day 2, you can look in IGTV, or you can hop on YouTube and do it that way, whatever works for you, right? Tomorrow, I mentioned it a couple times yesterday and again today, the +15 method. Okay, this is something that I use especially with my very busy clients, right? Like entrepreneur dad, 5-kid dad, coach of this program, coach of that program, full-time business owner, that dad, right? The dad that just can't seem to find the time. And let's be honest, we don't find time. Time is everywhere around us. We don't find it, we make it, right? Time is happening right now. Time is always happening. Time is all we have. We need to make the most of it and be the most efficient with the time that we do have, okay? So again, we'll go over the +15 method. And that's it, man. This is a quick one because in the interest of time, I actually have to go coach my daughters. So I have to get out of here and make sure that my time is used wisely. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.